Welcome to the yoga method. Today's practice is a Vinyasa flow. So come and join me on your mat as soon as you're ready at the left end of your mat if your long edge is facing me. So we begin by closing down the eyes, bringing our big toes together and flooding our breath with our bodies, with our awareness. Feel the soles of the feet as you lift and you lengthen and grow tall into the space above you. Setting an intention only if you wish. And when you are ready, please release your hands, opening your eyes. We'll take our hands just behind our heads momentarily and take a gentle side bend to your right, opening up left side body. Feel the weight equal and even in your feet, the upward lift of the pelvic floor, the gentle tucking of your tailbone as we flood the body with our presence and awareness for one more breath. And then please ease your way up. Take a tiny little baby back bend with your head supported. The abdominals and the glutes work in unison to support extension through the spine. One more heart opening breath in before we gently release back to the midline. A little side bend over to your left. I'll turn this way for a moment. So just deliberately breathing new awareness into the right lung, the right ribs, the right side of the torso. Pelvic floor, abdominals, and glutes working in unison as we take one more full breath in and out. Return to the midline. Please release your hands behind you momentarily. Interlace your fingers. Send your knuckles to the floor. Send your hearts to the ceiling as we take one more unsupported back bend. Unsupported in terms of our hands, but using the stabilizers. So we grip with the feet. We engage the quads, the hamstrings, the glutes, the core as we broaden across the collarbones. Taking one more expansive breath in. And on the exhalation, let's release the hands back to Anjali Mudra and bringing big toes to touch if they're not already there. Please circle and sweep your hands high as you flood the breath in. And on your exhalation, easing your way into your forward fold, release your head and shoulders, please. I'd love for you to bend into your left knee extra and continue to lengthen through your right. The left hand might be on the floor, it might be on the shin. And then just take your right hand to your hip as you open your torso towards me. So creating length through the right leg, a little rotation through the spine. And only if your right shoulder will allow, sending that hand high. Maybe even looking all the way up to the hand if the balance will allow. One more full breath in before we ease our way back down. So hands on the floor or hands on your ankle or hands on your shin. We're now bending into the right, lengthening through the left. Left hand, left thigh as we begin to revolve. So the rotation is coming from the spine, not through the pelvis. Grip with your feet, press with your hand, and then only sending your left hand to ceiling if it feels good to the body. Gazing down to the side or all the way to the top hand. One more full, deep, beautiful breath in before releasing the hands, please. On your in-breath, hands to shins or fingertips to floor, flat back extension. Before you step way back with your right foot and release your right knee. Hands to your thigh and then taking hands high. Full breath in here, just leveling through the pelvis, feeling the strength from the fingertip to your toes. One more full deep breath in. And then take your heart right above your knees. You send your arms behind you. Is your knee stacking over your ankle? And can you gaze at your left big toe as you loop your shoulders back and down? One more full deep breath in. And on your exhalation, please ground into your hands and power into your back leg. Fingertips towards the end of the mat. Let's lift into airplane pose or warrior three. The hips are level, the leg does not need to be high, but we're endeavoring to square the pelvis and maintain length in the spine and action through our core. Just one more full breath in before we gently release the foot, release the head, release the heart. Bend your knees as much as you need as you ripple your way all the way up to your extended mountain pose. Releasing hands down and around to Samastitihi. Inhale, circle and sweep high. On the exhalation, over you go, releasing your head and shoulders last. Bend into your left knee, lengthen through your right, and then please sending that hand to your hip or sending that hand high. Just one more breath in. And on the exhalation, bending deeply into your right knee, lengthening through your left hand on your hip or left hand reaching high. Just one more breath in as you feel that beautiful sensation down your left leg, and exhaling to release your head, to release your heart. Full breath in. Hands to shins or fingertips to floor, flat back extension. Stepping your left leg way, way, way back as we release the knee. Hands to your thigh, help yourselves up, reaching high. Square the pelvis, descend just a little bit till you feel the first little bit of sensation into your left hip flexor. Only lifting eye gaze if the balance allows. And if your shoulders aren't happy, just leave them on your thigh. One more breath high before sending your heart forward, reaching your arms behind you. So we loop the shoulders and lift them even though the heart is descending. And we check the alignment of the hip and the knee and the ankle with our eye gaze looking at our right big toe. One more full breath in that reaches the tips of your fingers before releasing your hands and lifting your knee. Send your hands a little bit forward as you move into your supported warrior 3. A level pelvis, a buoyant heart, with breath that's so smooth and so deep, it keeps the mind focused and calm. One more full, smooth breath in before gently releasing our feet, releasing our head, and releasing our efforts. Bend your knees and rise as much as you need to. Please press your palms, looking to your thumbs. Releasing your hands down and around to Samastitihi. Inhale, circle and sweep. On the exhalation, over we go, releasing our head and shoulders last. Bend deeply into your left knee, sending your right arm high or to your hip. Only gazing skywards if it feels safe for one more deep breath in before exhaling and lengthening both legs evenly. Inhale, lift, lengthen. Exhale to stand your right leg back, but let's leave the knee off the earth as we come into our low lunge again. Variation 1, hands on the thigh and knee on the earth. Variation 2, stacking, lifting, and breathing for one more full, deep breath in. We're all going to lift the back leg and take the heart over the knee. So finding the rolling of the shoulders, energy between the shoulder blades, lifting the belly away from the thigh, taking one more full breath in. And on your exhalation, ground your hands, moving to your supported warrior 3. Pelvis level. Remember, the leg does not need to be high. Find one more deep breath in. A little change. We're transitioning to warrior 2. So bend slowly, slowly, slowly into your left leg. Land your right foot at the other end of your mat and ease your way up into Virabhadrasana 2. Hip and knee aligning, knee and ankle stacking. And we can always see that big toe on the inside of our left knee. How long can you make your arms and how powerful can you make your legs as you take one more full deep breath in and out. Please take a sun warrior just for a moment as you transition the leg long. Turn your toes towards the long edge of your mat and move to your version of Skandasana. Option 1, we'll stay here. Variation 2, one hand down. And variation 3, hands on the earth or hands in prayer. Toes only rolling to the ceiling if this feels good to your body. Taking one more full, smooth, deep breath in. And on your exhalation, we're grounding the hands and we're pivoting towards the right end of your mat. You're going to take your right foot wide and just begin by dropping your left knee. Turn your back towards me for a moment and just feel how this is feeling to your left hip flexor and your right inner thigh. Option 1, we'll stay exactly as we are. Variation 2, we're going to power into the back leg. And variation 3, we're rolling onto the pinky toe sides of both feet. Just exploring a little bit of a deeper hip stretch through that outer sweep. Let's move with this. So rolling pelvis square to the mat. And let's take our arm with us as we reach towards the back of the mat. So hand to knee as we return and square the shoulders. Hand reaches as we pivot to feel that juicy stretch. Ooh. Easing our way back in. And this will be your last time to explore this shape. One more breath in before returning your feet, and return both hands to the inside. Take a moment in low lizard, coming down to your forearms. And if this forearm is floating, you're just wrapping it around your right calf. So option 1, we're staying high. Variation 2, wrapping underneath. And variation 3, both elbows coming to the earth. Just finding connection to your breath, to your core, as you hug your right knee towards your right shoulder. Descending through your left hip by keeping your left glute active to support you. There's one more deep breath on offer here. And when the time is right, we'll all crawl up, tuck the back toes, and lift into that back leg. Once you arrive safely, turn your right toes out before stepping your other foot wide to match and come to your version of malasana. So toes are turned out. We can keep the hips high with the elbows supporting us, or we can descend that little bit deeper, pressing the elbows into the inner thigh, tucking the tailbone and lengthening through the spine. Finding connection to breath. And just see if you can balance this idea of effort and ease. So a little effort in the core, in the arms, and the spinal extensors. And then really softening through your faces, softening through your hips as we take one more full breath in and out. See if you can stand up. All the way up we go. Use your hands if you need. And once you've arrived at the top, release your hands, release your feet, big toes touching, and circling and sweeping to begin the sequence on the other side. On the out breath, we ease our way in to our forward fold, releasing our head and shoulders. On the in-breath, hands to shins or fingertips to floor, flat back extension before stepping back with your left leg, please. Once you've arrived there, we're stacking shoulders over pelvis, option to ground the knee or lift, and then option to reach the arms overhead. Draw your navel in, tuck your tailbone under, and soften through your shoulders even though your arms are reaching dynamically overhead. One more full, smooth breath in. Before we send the heart forward, we charge the back leg long. Sweep the arms, stack your knee over your ankle, your heart over your knee. Steady your eye gaze and see if you can make your back leg a little straighter, a little stronger. For one more deep breath in, please ground your hand, shift your weight, come into your version of supported warrior 3. Pelvis is level. Bend your standing leg as much as you need. Stay for 2. One more deep breath in before you begin to slowly make your way to warrior 2. So bending into the right knee, grounding, opening through the arms, opening through the chest, aligning hip and knee and ankle, energizing the arms, energizing the legs, but softening through our faces, our eyes, our shoulders for 2 more breaths. One more full, deep, smooth breath in and out before flipping the palm and taking Sun Warrior. Lifting the eye gaze, strengthening through the core. Just one more breath that opens your right ribs and easing your way towards the long edge of your mat before taking Skandasana on the other side. Option 1, hands support us on the thigh. Variation 2, we could take one hand down or both. And variation 3, coming lower, rolling the toes, hands on the earth, or coming to prayer. Every option equally awesome. Just finding what your body is craving, what your body is capable of doing today. Last 2 breaths. One more full, smooth, mindful breath in before gently releasing the hands and lifting through the hips. We're pivoting to the left end of the mat. We're going to heel toe our foot a little bit wider, and we're landing our back knee to begin with as we place our left hand on our left knee. So spiraling the chest to really explore opening through our right hip flexor a little extra, engaging through the right glute to support that opening. And variation 2, we're going to lift through the back leg and just feel how that sensation feels now. That last variation was pivoting to the pinky toe. This is a really big stretch through that piriformis, through that glute, the outer sweep of the hip, and then returning back to the midline. So it'll be an in-breath to roll to the pinky toe, and an out breath to square. The last option was to reach the arm back as you breathed in and to land the hand as you breathed out. Last 2. One more, please. And as we return here, just pausing for a moment, releasing both hands to the inside, and begin by releasing your knee to come to lizard. So knee and ankle are stacking, and then option to come down to your right forearm and hug underneath your left leg, or if it feels possible to lower both forearms to the floor, you will. Hug your left knee to your left shoulder, a little lift through your core, and engaging the right glute again to stabilize the pelvis and help to open the front of your right hip. We could stay low. If you feel like you want a little bit more energy in your posture, powering into your back leg. Last 2 breaths. One more full, smooth breath, please. Grounding into your hands one at a time. Turn your left toe out and then let your right foot come to match. Into Malasana we go. Elbows supporting us. If the knees and the ankles just aren't feeling like that full deep squat is therapeutic this morning. But if it feels good, come a little bit lower. If you're balancing on the tips of the toes, I'll encourage you to keep your hands on the earth, because you're working much harder than I am. Option 1, we'll stay and breathe. Variation 2, exploring an arm balance, only if you wish. So your crow, your crane. So we spread the fingers, we ground the hands, we'll lift the hips, and you'll probably find you want to walk your feet in a little bit. You'll come to the tips of your toes. You'll touch your knees to the back of your arms, and then keeping your head lifted, you'll begin to shift your weight. Option 1, both feet are on the ground. Variation 2, you'll pick up one leg for a couple breaths. You'll land, you'll re-scoop, and you'll lift through the other side. And final variation, if it's feeling safe, challenging but safe, big toes are touching. We're lifting both heels towards our hips. Oh, shaky arms. Finding steady eyes, steady body, steady breath for 3 more. Whatever version you're taking, perfect. And to descend, we can either land the feet, or one other option, if you come back up again, option 2, jump back and move through your very first chaturanga of this practice. And let's all meet, however you get there, in a downward facing dog. First one, imagine that. Please pedal through your heels, finding that dynamic, beautiful nature that feels so good to your body. Resting in child's pose if you prefer. And then please find stillness. And really take a moment to tuck the chin, gaze between your feet, squeeze the heels to the midline. Flooding breath in as we lengthen through the arms, the spine, the legs, but keeping a dynamic connection to the muscles through the arm, the spine, the hips, the legs. One more full breath in and out. We lift to the tips of the toes, bending our knees, walking or hopping. We'll lift and lengthen once we arrive. And we finish the standing sequence by bending deeply into our right knee, hand to the ankle, and completing that final little bit of rotation, looking to the floor, looking to the side, or looking to the top hand, right knee bent, left leg lengthening. One more full, deep, beautiful breath in before gently returning. Once you arrive, lift your heads, bend your knees, and now come to the tips of your toes, hands resting on your knees or hands in prayer as we work on our toe balance, strengthening our toes, our feet, our ankles. Press your palms, lift through the pelvic floor, stay for 2 more breaths. One more, please. You'll gently see if you can ease your way down to the floor. And once you've arrived there safely, let's meet in our boat pose, please. So feet on the earth, and taking a moment to really lift and lengthen through the spine. The position I'd like you to take with your arms once you've done that is to bring your hands behind your head just the way we started our practice. So option 1, feet on the floor, and we're doing an alternating lift as we breathe in and breathe out. Full breath in and breathe out. Option 2, creating a little bit of rotation. So finding just that end point where your abdominals can take you no further, and before you compromise the length of your spine. Last option, you could lengthen through the leg and gently return. So bent leg or straight leg, honestly, it doesn't matter. You're just seeing, can I maintain the length of the spine? Can I keep the core drawn in strongly? And am I feeling uncomfortably comfortable with the choice I've made? There's only 2 more. One more, please. And then the best moment always, our very first restorative forward fold. So reach high, always a moment of celebration as we let go of the effort of the standing sequence and we ease our way in to a gentle Paschimottanasana. We love bent knees, so bend your knees if that feels better. Focus on shoulders away from your ears. So I not only want you to descend through the shoulders, but I want you to retract them. So retract, descend, and then easing your way in as far as it feels really good to your body. Just take 2 more breaths. One more full deep breath in and out. On your in-breath, please lift through your head, your heart, easing your way up and out of the shape. We'll just take Janushirasana A with your right foot above or below. Once again, establish the length of the spine. And as you breathe out, hands resting on your thighs, your shins, or reaching for your feet. If you're binding, right hand comes across the sole of the foot, and we deliberately roll the right ribs towards the left inner thigh. Please encourage your right knee towards the earth by using the muscles in the back of the hip that externally rotate the femur. And now just breathe. One more smooth, full breath before we lift our heads, lift our hearts, ease our way up and out. Variation 1, you'll repeat the same stretch. Variation 2, if the hip and the knee allow, we tuck it just out to the side. So a little bit more hip opening as we move this hip into a new shape. Option to lean back if you're feeling quite a good stretch already. And then only if it feels like there's room to play with, come back into that fold. So very similar shape, but it'll feel very different through your right hip joint. So we've moved from external rotation into internal rotation through your right ball and socket joint. But it's the length, it's the breath, it's the relaxation that remains the same. Take 2 more. One more, please. On the in-breath, lift your heads, lift your hearts, ease your way up and out of that shape. Option 1, once again, leaning back to see how this feels. Variation 2, we're going to tuck it in a little bit. We'll square the pelvis, and then we'll begin to just ease back into our hands. So taking the weight into your left hand will be less intense than taking both hands behind you. And then if there's room to play with, we just begin to lower down first onto our forearms. And straight away, feeling quadriceps as well as hip flexor. And then if it feels like there's still some room to safely play with, please just lower down. Now this knee is going to want to pop up as soon as we do that. So we'll encourage the knee down, but we only want to feel this through the front of the thigh and into the front of this hip. If you're feeling it more through your knee joint, I want you to come out of it back into that Janu Shirshasana shape where your foot was tucking into your left thigh. So let's take a moment to close down the eyes, hands in that gesture of receptivity. So even though we're static, there's a little bit of tone in the core. We're encouraging the right knee to the earth. And there's definitely action in the left glute, encouraging hip extension. So right knee's pressing down, pelvis is tucking. And then on top of that beautiful foundation, we're breathing for one more breath, please. Opening the windows of your eyes, ground into your left foot, and just see how that little change amplifies or decreases what you're feeling through this leg. Just one more breath before we ever so gracefully unwind that other leg. So we're in our perfect position to start our bridge before we do the other side. So please walk your heels in as close as you can towards your feet. Touch your heels with your peace fingers just to check that your feet are equal. And then land your hand on your pelvis. Can you just start by imprinting? So that's a term that comes from Pilates. But we're just tucking the tailbone into a posterior pelvic tilt so that the lower back flattens. And then we're taking the tailbone the other way so that the arch underneath our back really significantly increases. I'll move my hand so you can see. So tuck your tailbone, draw your pelvis towards your navel, like you're sucking your tummy in, and then roll the other way so you're creating more of an arch through your lower back. So being able to move sequentially through the spine is really important just from a healthy mobility standpoint. So just experimenting with flexion through the spine as we tuck the tailbone, and a little bit of extension through the lumbar spine as we reverse the direction. Leave your hands in cactus with me, and then let's move up into our bridging shape. So we want to feel that we're working equally through our feet. And then please take the awareness from the soles of the feet to your hamstrings. Just feel if they're working equally. My right side can be a little bit lazy, so I got to give it a little bit more attention. And then move the awareness to your glutes. Make sure that the glutes are working equally. And then please just place your pelvis, your hands on your pelvis. You might even be able to look to see, is one side of the body dropping? So we're leveling out through the pelvis, and then we'll land the hands on the earth for a little extra support. Press dynamically into your feet like you're trying to straighten your legs out, and that will just lift the pelvis a tiny bit higher. Reconnect once more to the soles of the feet, your hamstrings, your glutes. Engage the pelvic floor and draw your navel towards your spine. And keep breathing. Don't forget to breathe as we strengthen the posterior chain for one more deep breath before we roll our way down one vertebra at a time through the upper back, middle back, lower back. Keep your tail tucked until you feel the back of the pelvis land, and then release. Bring the soles of the feet together for just a moment. A little rock through the pelvis if you prefer. And then rest the hands on the inner thigh, closing down the eyes. Feeling gravity opening the inner seam of the body. Some of us feel this in the back of the hips too. So the posterior capsule of the hip joint we might be feeling, but you might also be feeling your sacroiliac joints. And there's lots of really strong connective ligaments that crisscross the pelvis. So also just giving them a moment of TLC. Just one more breath before we bring the knees together. We'll gather the knees to our hearts. We'll hug ourselves tightly. We'll rock our bodies ever so gently. And when you and your body feel ready, we'll rock and roll our way up, because we've got to do Janu on the other side. So tucking in with your left foot, right leg is long, but please feel free to bend this knee as much as you need. Reach high, lengthen your spine before you ease your way in with your hands on your thigh, your shin, or reaching for your foot. If you're binding, we're reaching across the sole of the foot, holding on to the right wrist with the left index finger and thumb. The way the body avoids the sensation, it will roll open towards your left, and it'll lift the left shoulder. So we're going to roll the shoulders towards the right inner thigh, and we'll deliberately square the shoulders and draw the toes back. Breathe in. And just see if you can make your exhalation a little longer than your inhalation. One more breath. So the inhalation lifts us through the head and the heart, and the exhalation has us sit back. So you'll either repeat that same stretch again, or if the knee joint will allow, you're opening that knee out to the side to just explore a stretch from external into internal rotation. To lessen the sensation, we lean into the right hand. If it feels like there's space to play with, we begin to move forward back over the right leg. Once again, no pressure in the knee joint. We only want to feel that through the thigh and through the hip. So making the adjustment, listening to your own body. Retrace your steps as you roll your left ribs towards your right thigh. Balance the shoulders, especially relax through the left. And then wake up your right foot as you steady your focal point on your big toe. Last two. One more breath that brings your nose a millimeter closer to your toe. And on your in-breath, head and heart before we release up and out. Option 1, remember, Janu A. Variation 2, we're just either leaning into our right hand only, or we'll take both hands behind us and begin to square through the hips and the shoulders a little bit more. From there, could you lower to your arms? There's two of them. And if that is just giving you the perfect amount of sensation through your quadricep, through your hip flexor, we'll stay there. But if you think, oh, I think there's a little bit more room, you'll lower yourselves down. You'll encourage your left knee towards the mat. We're trying to square a little bit through the pelvis. So left knee presses down. You're thinking about tucking your tailbone because the back will want to arch. We'll tuck the tailbone. We'll engage the core gently. Be as long as you can through your right leg. Be as soft as you can through your head, your faces, your shoulders. And let's just bask in all of this sensation for 2 more breaths. And only when you're ready, you're bending through your right leg. We're running a little experiment to see how that change in shape changes what we're feeling through the left hip flexor and the left quadricep. If it feels good, stay for a few breaths. If it doesn't, just come out of it straight away. This is your last 2 or 3 breaths. And then only when you're ready, maybe open up that right knee a little bit so you can slide your left leg around. And only happy baby pose remains. So please gather your knees into your hearts. I'm going to shimmy this way a little bit. Taking a moment to deload your spine before separating your knees and standing on the ceiling, please. We can hold hamstrings. We could hold calves. We could hold feet. But what we're most importantly focusing on is gently tucking the chin in to lengthen the back of the neck, sliding our shoulders away from our ears. And see if you can soften really deliberately through your upper back, your middle back, your lower back, and then sacrum or tailbone or pelvis gets heavy. A gentle rock from side to side. If that is what the body would prefer. Just test it, see how it feels. Just one more smooth, deep, beautiful breath in. Slow, controlled breath out before finding your stillness. And please just grounding the feet to the earth. If your back is sore at all, we bring the knees together with the feet wide. And if your body will allow, we'll lengthen through the legs, claim a little bit of space with the hands and the feet. Palms turning upwards in this gesture of receptivity. As we close down the eyes, we feel the quality of energy within our bodies. And just as we pause in Shavasana, we'll run through the 8 limbs of yoga. So take a breath in, silently internally repeating yama. Exhaling, I strive to live in integrity with my values and my virtues. Full breath in, niyamas. I strive to live my life with dedication, devotion, and discipline. Breathe in, asana. Breathe out, I honor and appreciate my body. Breathe in, pranayama. Exhale, I honor and appreciate my breath. Breathe in, pratyahara. Breathe out, I honor and appreciate my senses. Breathe in, dharana. Breathe out, I strive to harness my focus and concentration. Breathe in, dhyana. Breathe out, I achieve a meditative state when I practice the other 6 limbs first. And finally, breathe in, samadhi. Exhale, I experience a sense of oneness with all living creatures and a deep sense of peace and connection to the divine within and the divine all around. Just taking 2 more breaths into your stillness. And with your eyes remaining closed and the awareness staying with your bodies, we begin to expand the breath, expanding the awareness, and inviting gentle movement back into fingers and toes, back into our wrists, our ankles, our shoulders, our hips, our necks. And only if it feels good and space will allow, you'll take your arms overhead, a full big body yawn from fingertip to toe, before sliding your arms down and around, bending your knees one at a time. Gather your knees to your hearts. Hug yourselves lovingly. Please rock your bodies very gently before rolling to the right hand side of the body. Just lingering for one smooth, mindful breath in before we press the earth away. Rising to a seated position, any position that feels good to your body. Lengthening through your spine, growing tall into the space above you, with your hands coming to Anjali Mudra. Practicing gratitude in this moment, for this day, for this body, for this practice that we share. And we take one collective conscious breath, sending our love, our hope, our prayers, and our blessings out into the world. And our last unified breath closes our practice with a bow. Namaste. Thank you, beautiful yogis, for your time, your effort, and energy. And I hope you have a wonderful day. From my heart to yours, namaste.